Hey, what is up, you guys? Sam from Otaku, joined by Josh and Jose, as always, for another Mangalku, where we go over and we look at the Tezuka Manga Contest entries, and we read them. We usually read 3 or 4, as seeming what to be the norm, and then we pick which one we like the best, and then congratulations to that person. So for those of you that don't know, the Tezuka Manga Contest, as it is stated on their website, it is a manga award for new artists established by Shonen Jump, by Shueisha, publisher since 1971, with the aim of finding new talents. There you go. That's pretty much it. You don't need to know the rest of it.
I was moved.
It gets judged by really famous authors. Akira Toriyama, Oda. That's all I know for his name. I was going to say Oda Sensei.
Cheeto.
So Dragon Ball Z author, One Piece author, Blue Exorcist author, My Hero Academia author, Slam Dunk author, and Tezuka staff. So you got a whole gambit of people, and it's open worldwide. So because of that, that means there's English submissions, and they are publicly available for anybody to view. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So the 4 that we're doing this week, we're going to be doing The Lone Hunter, Armageddon, Starlight Lost, and Mother. So I think I'm going to start with mine first, which is The Lone Hunter, and then we will move down the line. So The Lone Hunter, I can't read what this person's name is. Kyoto Kiranami is the author and the artist for this one. So a bit of a double on this. So The Lone Hunter, you guys, keep that in mind. That comes very much important, all right? The Lone Hunter. First panel, you see a girl get her arm chopped off by another girl while she's running away. So there's a girl chasing somebody and she chops her fucking arm off. The girl begs to be spared, but the killer asks, do you even think about those who you tortured before? Then, boom, flashback. We're jumping right into the past. That was the future. We're going back. Turns out, growing up, she was a huge fan of magical girls. She always had lived with her mom since her dad died when she was very young. For a question mark, that could come into play later. We don't know. But it all changed when that incident happened. And then next thing, boom, mom is dead on the floor, blood all around her head, eyes rolled back, tears come down her face. By the way, this is very gory. The art is like blood everywhere. When her arm gets cut off in the first panel, there's blood spat, and you can see the bone. You can see a little bone in the first panel.
Mm-hmm.
So then the little girl, who we will assume is now our MC, she goes over to try to wake up her mom, but it doesn't work, stupid little girl. And then she notices that something is written in the blood of her mom, and it spells out magical girl. Okay. So then the police show up. And that's when we find out that her name is actually Shirasaki Megurin, who is going to be our main character for this manga. And then a girl named Miki is talking to her, and she offers for her to come live with her. I'm just going to assume she's a detective. It's not really made clear. She could have just been someone on the crime scene who decided to pick up a little girl.
She might be wearing, the detective's hat.
I don't know, but regardless, Shirasaki accepts, once again, stupid little girl. So they go back to Miki's place, and that's where Miki tells her that she knows who really killed her mother. And she says that she, Miki, is a secret assassin that fights magical girls. And her mother was actually killed by, dun dun dun, magical girls.
Magical girl.
So, yeah, it's... So
the thing she wanted to be.
no, her head did not explode. That was my head exploding at the revelation. So then Miki offers a trainer on how to fight magical girls. So, of course, she accepts. So they train in like fighting, inventing, and then she still has to go to school. Those are kind of the 3 things that they list here. So then we have a time skip. Time skip forward. 7 years have passed since then. She leaves Mickey's house to go to school, and then she's like, oh, crap, I forgot my lunchbox. So she turns around. Oh, what? The door is open. That is so weird. I didn't leave the door open. I wasn't raised in a barn. So then she walks in, and you see a magical girl on top of Miki, and she looks fucked up. The Miki is looking bad. So,
Miki looks dead.
Yeah.
Miki just looks dead.
Straight up,
Yeah, so the magical girl's on top of Miki, which looks like punching the hell out of her. She's like just beating the shit out of her on the ground.
Ripping the organs out of her face.
So it looks like you can kind of tell a fight took place. There's a huge like little dagger in the wall. There was a kerfuffle here, and Miki clearly lost. So the magical girl sees Shirasaki enter, and she goes like, hey, I feel sorry for you, but you should really just go back to school. And then Shirasaki counters like, oh, you should feel sorry for yourself. And that's when Shirasaki activates something on her wrist, like a little wristband thing.
Oh, it's like turns into a gauntlet or something.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. But then so the magical girl starts to explain the reason why she went after Miki is because she was on their wanted list and she had previously destroyed one of their homes. So they just waited for her to get really weak and then they fucked her up, which primo strategy, honestly. It's like, yeah, hey, we can't take her into prime. We're going to sit this one out. We'll come back later. So she explains that, and then now Shirasaki says, I'll fight with everything I've got. And at that point, you find out that it turns Miki is still alive because she's behind the magical girl on the ground, and she starts explaining to the magical girl about how when she trained Shirasaki, she exceeded all expectations, and she might be the toughest opponent you'll ever face.
And then dies.
Yeah, so she just lets that out, I guess. So the magical girl starts getting flustered, and then just then Shirasaki pulls out a fucking gun, okay? So it's like she hits something on her wrist, and it's like, oh, what's it going to do? What's it going to do? She pulls out a gun from her bag. She pulls out a gun, and Shirasaki is like,
it.
yeah, it's like, oh, I got to find out what her magic power is. So she fires. She fires the gun at the magic girl, and then the magical girl, like, makes a shield in front of her, and she says, yada, yada. So, I mean, that was just a little bit of Japanese in your English there. And so Shirasaki's now figured out that I guess her magical power is to create a shield is what we get from that. So now you see Shirasaki, and she's got like a metal hand. Like the thing is activated on her wrist. And now she has like almost a metal gauntlet. And then her shoes expand out. So like more metal comes out from her shoes. I don't really know. That part was a little unclear. So she runs up and like hits her shield with the palm of her hand and just sends the magical girl absolutely fucking flying into the wall. So, and then she explains that the metal hand has an equivalent of 100 Newton tons of force. And that's the same force as a truck flying at you. So there you go. Nice. So the magical girl is in the fucking wall at this point. And then Shirasaki runs up and kicks her. Turns out her feet now have a blade on the bottom of them. And so she slices her fucking arm off, and she calls it knife kick. So she slices her arm off, knife kick. Okay? So at this point, magical girl, worried she ain't going to be surviving this one. Rightfully so. She's starting to think Shirasaki is crazy. Rightfully so. So she tries to call her shield again, because at this point she's in protection mode. Not so fast. Second knife kick. Slashes her right across the fucking face.
Oh.
So at that point, magical girl starts to beg for her life. Like, oh, this is not going well. I don't know what's going to happen here. I was like, please spare me. Nope. Shirasaki slices her fucking head off at that point. Just like, yep, that's not going to happen.
Damn.
Yoink. So Shirasaki then hits some buttons on her wrist. I didn't really understand this part either. She starts hitting some buttons on her wrist and says something about recording the count. I don't know what that means.
Oh, maybe that's how many she's killed.
Yeah, she references wanting to look at it later. So I didn't know if maybe like she records the fight as she's going. I don't know. So then she finally remembers that, hey, Miki is still on the ground. So she runs over to go check on her and puts like her nose or her finger under her nose to see if she's breathing. Nope, no breath. And so she just goes, oh, I was late, huh? It's like, yeah, no shit, you were late. Hello? It's like you're just having bants with the magical girls. Like, just finish it. So Miki dies. Boom. She gave the speech. She dead. And then she's looking at Miki's dead body, and she's like, oh, I didn't cry this time. Like, okay, psychopath. I guess that's a thing that we'll just go ahead and
she's
take
exceeding
down
all
there.
Expectations right now.
Yeah. So she does a quick RIP to Miki, stares at the big mess around the house, and she takes a second to wonder how she's going to clean it up. I would assume she would just move on and leave, but I guess she's going to try and clean up the house. Skip forward, and now we see her fighting. Actually, she has a couple of quotes before that. So after fighting the magical girl, she finds out that her goal is now to wipe out all magical girls. So she had one bad one. She's going to take them all out. They're done. And she states that magical girls will just become parasites that will one day take over the human world. I don't know how she knows that, but she states that, and now that's her goal. So now we cut forward. Yeah, seriously. Now we cut forward. She's hunting down another magical girl. Main character gets fucked up, still wins. So she's like, she's improving. You know, she's having a couple of rough fights. It's like year one Batman here, you know? And she states that every day she's just going to try and upgrade her equipment, think about new strategies, and fight magical girls just to get more and more information on what it's like. So she says she'll end up fighting. She'll fight a lot of magic girls, and if she can't win, she'll retreat and just return later. She's just going to play it smart. And we're coming to the very end of the manga here, the last couple of pages. And so she starts stating, here's the kicker. This is a quote. I know there are probably others who want to fight too, but I will not try to find them because I am ... the lone hunter. End manga.
They said the name.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can't be the lone hunter if other people out there doing it too.
She's just all alone doing it.
Yeah, but it's like, she knows, I know there are probably others who want to fight too, but I will not try to find them. It's like, okay, well, you're just choosing to be the lone hunter. You don't get to be the lone hunter when you know. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of other people out there, but I'm going to go be the lone hunter. It's like, hey, you want help?
Yeah, because she's
no.
just not teaming up with anybody.
I have a belief here. So we had Knife Kick, which was phenomenal naming.
Knife Kick 2.
No one was ready
Yeah.
for second Knife Kick. So I think this is chapter 1 is the Lone Hunter. Chapter 2 is the Two Hunters.
Oh.
And chapter 3
I
is the
see.
Three Hunters.
That makes sense.
Wouldn't it be the crowd of hunters?
Well, Jose, it might get to that point. I think Three Hunters.
That'll be
is a little-
3 because 3
I
is a
think
crowd.
3. Oh, 3.
Yeah.
I think we're figuring this
I'm gonna
out.
leave.
We're so, my thoughts on this one is it's not really like, so I work at a bookstore. It's not really a unique, I don't know, subject or idea. There's a lot of mangas right now that are in the magical girl space, and they're purposely edgy. Like, we read one of them for regular Mangalku. You know, I messed up and made the wrong person a magical girl. Machi Maho. We read that.
That was funny as fuck.
It takes the magical girl genre, which is normally pure and, you know, pretty and sparkly, whatever, and then it turns it on its head by making it really brutal. And there's more out there that we haven't read that kind of have the same thing. So it's not the most unique one, and I kind of get the feeling that either English might not be his first language, or he just messed up, or I don't know. They just messed up doing something, because on some sentences the words were like in the wrong place, or like the
just on
grammar was really
page,
bad.
The last page, that final statement: someone who has no superpower or magic fight for herself in her ideal kind of world. Like, yeah, it could just be bad grammar.
So I just assume that maybe that's something to take note of as well. The art was really good. It wasn't the best that we've seen in this contest, but it was good. And the violence is fucking out of this world. And that, apparently, she just goes balls to the wall.
You know?
But once again, I don't think it's the most unique subject matter. So, and honestly, I don't know. I was thinking, you know, this is supposed to be serialized in Shonen Jump. Will they have something that brutal? Like seeing the bone and stuff? Is that an okay thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I don't know where they stand now, because I remember there was controversy with Shonen Jump before that they have a series called Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs, and it's not super violent. It's just super ecchi. Like they're basically you to see everything but their tits, you know.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
And they were getting in trouble for that. But it's like, so they might be okay with that now. But it's like, man, this was like the stuff when you see the mom dead. Ooh, that is a scene.
Yeah, that's
like,
pretty gnarly.
Tears are rolling down her eyes. She's like fucking eyes rolled back in her head. Her tongue's out.
I don't want to sleep on the fact that, you know, like, she cut that one chick's head off, but she sliced her face open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's also fucked. She was alive.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was really brutal. So, that's pretty much my thoughts. I didn't think it was the most unique ones, but it's not bad. I don't think it's bad. So that was the Lone Hunter. Josh, do you want to go next? You did Armageddon.
Yeah. So, I like edgy content. You may have already picked up on this. So Armageddon, it had this like kind of cool like hand drawn vibe on the front, and I was like, okay, maybe this is just gonna be meh. But so they start off with the like biblical definition for
Awesome.
Armageddon. I'm starting to think like, okay,
can we get the definition real quick?
so Armageddon, and then it's pronounced Armageddon or something like that. Biblical term that designates the location of the final battle between good and evil during the end of the world. Which, you know, that's pretty accurate. You know, I'm a fan of Diablo, and I was thinking like, oh, this is gonna be cool.
It's
like,
just real.
Yeah. So immediately starts black, and this guy is yelling, "Lucifer, you traitor! You're gonna pay for this!" And it's this random guy just chilling. He's in a t-shirt and stuff, and he sees this like waiting room, and he sees like a bunch of like kind of like blank figures, and they've got some like shit on their face. It's weird. He's like, "Oh, this is purgatory." So we don't know who he is. He just knows where he's
Are
at.
they geishas?
No. So I don't know if you're reading along, Sam, but I
you
would
said
appreciate
they have shit on their face. I just figured.
No, they like you can see from afar. They're like white silhouettes rather than like a black silhouette, but their face is like shaded. So he comes up and sits down next to all these people, and he sees the judge, and he's like, "Yeah, this is totally purgatory." And he looks at this dude next to him, and he sees the fucked up stuff on his face. And he's like, "Oh, he's a tormented soul." So they kind of equate like, okay, when you're here, You're not family. This isn't Olive Garden. This is purgatory.
Nice.
And so he asked the guy, oh, how long you been in for?
Is
And
this
he's
where
like,
they go after Dominicos?
Oh,
wow, that is a great
Jesus.
inside joke. If
Yeah.
only you had watched the Otaku
Podcast number 33.
34.
Okay, carry
Fair.
on.
I like how we just had a super serious story. I'm telling a super serious story, and we're still trying to slip the fucking bullshit in.
It's all right.
So basically, the character that you've been introduced asked the guy next to him, he's like, "Oh, how long you been here?" And he's like, "Oh, 170 years." And he's like,
Damn.
wow.
That
And they're
pickup
still
line
struggling?
sucked.
Yeah. And he's like, "What? They're still struggling to like kind of figure out your fate." And so the judge will sit there and kind of go through all the things you've done, and then say whether you go to heaven or hell. And basically, the guy kind of explains, like, I was a good person. I had love. I had glory. I did solidarity. But I also killed, and I had some regrets and stuff like that. So he was, like a normal person, I would say,
Yeah.
when we get painted that. And so he puts his hand on his hand and says, "I understand, but I think your mistakes will be forgiven." And the judge calls the guy's name, the one that was saying he's been there for 170 years, and says, "You've been sent to heaven." And he gets sent up, and it's this like big old like explosion of like light when this guy walks through the door.
Is
And
it like that
air.
movie?
Uh,
Like this is the end?
Dude, I couldn't honestly tell you, but it was basically like, like a powerful thing just happened. It was like, the guy's like, "Oh, cool. I'm glad you could find peace." And he's like, "I wonder if I'm gonna find peace too. I need to get to heaven." And this guy, who's actually a defined character, like the main character at the moment, says, "Oh, you think you're going to heaven? You can't do that. You're Lucifer."
Ooh,
And
plot
you're like,
twist.
whoa, he was just damning Lucifer at the beginning, but this guy's Lucifer. Holy shit. So he turns around and is like, "No, this is impossible. What the fuck are you talking about?" And then the judge says, and he's talking to the guy you were introduced to the first half, "You're going to hell." And he's like, "Wait, what? Like, I'm not Lucifer. There's an error. I don't know who I am, but I'm not Lucifer. Like, I would never agree with that guy."
Oh no.
And the guy that said that called him out as Lucifer, like, is just chilling there, and all of the 7 archangels of the heavenly host show up, and it's like clearly total badass looking dudes. Like, oh shit, this is wild. And this guy starts freaking out. He's like, "What are they doing here? Believe me, I'm not Lucifer. I swear to God." And he wouldn't swear to God, because then he would actually get sent to hell. But so this guy that called him Lucifer is just like smirking, and he's just kind of looking at him, and he walks up slowly, and he's got this like total mob boss vibe going on, like something's up. And he's basically like, "You know why that guy went to heaven just now?" And he's like, "Well, he was judged to be good, essentially." And he's like, "No, you passed your divine judgment upon him, and you said he was good, but if God was judging him, he would have gone to hell. So this was a trap, essentially." And he's like, "You're a supreme traitor." And he kills this guy, this dude that you didn't know who he was. He just walks up.
He's not actually Lucifer, but because he gave forgiveness to somebody who was really evil, they're basically saying you are Lucifer because you're a traitor.
But he called him Lucifer. So this guy calls
Interesting.
him Lucifer, and you're just like, weird. And he basically, the guy that called him Lucifer, like powers up this attack, and he's like, "You are the new Lucifer," essentially. Like, so going in agreement with what you just said. He then says, "Farewell, Archangel Michael," which is the guy that, kicked Lucifer into hell, fucking blows him up. And the Archangel hosts are pretty much like, "Oh, why'd you have to make such a scene, dude?"
So is the guy that got is the guy our main character?
Yeah.
Is he Archangel Michael that just got sent in? Oh,
yes. So
I love Archangel Michael. That's badass.
Yeah. So somehow he basically has, I don't know, died of some sorts or gets sent to purgatory, and the Lucifer says, "Oh, you're Lucifer because of what you just did." And the guy's like freaking out, and then Lucifer kills the new Lucifer, which is just like metaphorical. And so Michael's falling into hell right now, and then the next scene is it's Michael, but it's his full archangel form. So he's been released from his purgatory form, and now he's full angel, like
Got
archangel.
like that.
So
That crown.
So the guy who called him Lucifer is Lucifer?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, this is twists and turns. This is
Dude,
crazy.
it's so cool. I was fucking like, whoa. And I was so on board with the main character being Lucifer at the beginning. I was like, this would be great. And then it's like, oh, betrayal. So then Lucifer's like, oh, cool. The host is like freaking the fuck out, but Lucifer is just chilling, and Archangel Michael, like full form now, is like, I've got all my memories back, and like, you're a fiend. And so he goes to attack Lucifer, and the whole host turns around and is now cornering him. And so he's being attacked by the host of angels, or like being held off, and now Lucifer's in his angel form, and they're essentially fighting each other. Michael's getting fucked up because the whole host and Lucifer are essentially beating the shit out of him. And Lucifer the entire time is basically saying, you would be punished by God, and you're basically breaking the rules that God created. And Michael's like, no, I would never do that. You know, we follow the rules. Everything's just. He's like, you broke the rules. What you did would be damnable by God. So I'm going to break the system, essentially. And the brothers, which are the hosts, so they're all children of God, is what they're referring to themselves.
And these are
like,
the archangels.
Yeah, the archangels are the hosts. And he's basically like, we're going to break the system. They're done with the fact that God is the one that's, or Father is the one that's his system is the one that's working. The fact that you came into purgatory and you were conflicted on whether or not that person was good, and you saw the good in them and sent them to heaven, tells you right now like the whole system's broke kind of situation. So basically Michael is getting fucked up, and Lucifer's going on like full like Thanos level rant, and basically like, no, we're gonna redo the world, and then blows up fucking Michael. And the host was like, dude, we could have subdued him. Like, why did you do this? And he sent Michael to hell. And they're like, why did you do that? Like, we could have subdued him. We didn't have to send him to hell. And he's like, no, I had to, because this was a test to God. And basically it was, let me see if I can read it. He's like, you see Jophiel, and that's one of the host angels. I wanted to show Father how failed his system was. Even his most faithful servitor, which is Michael, is damned to hell, and just because he saved a soul he saw as good. How ironic. And even worse, he can't break his own rules, thus he can't save Michael. So just total full fucking yeet.
Damn, like, he's a fucking badass.
And then the thing that like really sold this for me, and I think this is what the crowning jewel of this one is, they had the badass team at the end, full fucking fledged picture of them walking. It reminded me of a scene from My Hero, when it's like, it's our turn now, and they're walking away from some explosions in the background, and it's basically the new host. They've lost all their halos and all this stuff, their aura. It's Lucifer leading them, and it's like, shit's about to fucking go down, and it's like, yo. So dude, this is good. Like, I see this could be like a real thing.
I saw it when I was flipping through that. I think you skipped it, but he's the one that made him lose his memories. The Lucifer guy, he locked him in purgatory on purpose and erased his memories.
I believe so, and that was so that he would basically judge a soul, pass on his own divine judgment.
I like that. I like Lucifer, dude. Let's do
badass,
it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It is so cool. But he's definitely got it's been a minute since we watched My Hero. He's what's his face? Decay, the one we call
Shigaraki?
Shigaraki. He's got like big Shigaraki vibes without like the crazy attitude, just like is completely deconstructing the concept of what it is to be like an angel and be good, and it's super cool.
So if this went forward, I would imagine we would follow Michael, right? We would follow him, like, trying to get out of hell.
So I don't know, because I think,
or are we following Lucifer? Like, is Michael like, okay, that's done. Like, we shown that's stupid. Now we're gonna follow Lucifer and the gang trying to take over heaven.
That'd be a really good idea, though. That'd be cool as fuck. That's like Death Note, where you see that light becomes the villain.
Yeah, and I would wonder if like having Michael in hell is one of those situations where it's like, okay, the coolest of the cool, like the one archangel everyone kind of knows has been screwed, and like he's out of the picture, and so then basically it just kind of gives you the importance of Lucifer, or if it's like, how is Michael going to get out of hell? He's like now the lone renegade cop, a lone hunter, if you will, and he's going to hunt down the host. Yeah, so it could be cool either way. It could be basically like, yeah, he was the main character for all of 10 seconds just to let you know how fucking serious Lucifer and his gang are. And I would like to see more humanizing of Lucifer and the host, because that would be really cool.
So
I don't know.
If Lucifer becomes humanized, does he have to get like a day job and work at a McDonald's and stuff?
No.
Yes.
I don't think it's that. No.
Yeah.
I mean, so looking at this, I feel like it's pretty unique. You know?
Yeah, I like this a lot, actually.
I haven't seen too much that is, up this alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it because it wasn't just like a shitty shonen, if you will, where they're just like beating the shit out of each other and it's like good versus bad. Like, it was the good did bad and is still good, but is now questionably bad in is a broken system. And it's like there was thought put into everything, which was super cool in my opinion.
Should do the thing where he twists Michael's like mind.
Pretty much, yeah. Like you could just see Michael was just like, wait, what the fuck is going on here? But
that's cool.
Yeah, and then like I said, it's just cool seeing like the whole angel motif.
The art's fantastic too.
The
art is super good. So,
and I feel like they get to get away because it's set in purgatory. It's like they're not really drawing a lot of backgrounds because it's just purgatory.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's like you can write that off. It's like no, it's not that I didn't want to do the backgrounds. It's purgatory. It's just white. It's like, come on, guys.
And it's super cool though. If you like look at some of the photos where it's like they've got when Lucifer just kills Michael, you see like the whole host is just chilling there looking, and they've got the total badass vibe still. Like they're like captains, and like it's like Bleach level captains where it's just like you don't want to fuck with those guys even though they weren't the main characters. They're still like a mega level threat kind of, if you will. So it was super cool. So I want to see how they go about it. But yeah, I'm thinking.
Who's that by? Who's the author of that?
It was
the one and Ellen.
Yeah, the one and Ellen.
Oh, okay, the one and Ellen. All right, that was Armageddon by the one and Ellen. I thought that was pretty good. I like that one.
I too thought that was great.
Jose,
I was so worried bringing that to you guys after last week. I was like, oh, I like mine. We didn't really like it.
So Jose, you're up next. You're doing Starlight Lost, which the art
cover
looks fantastic from the cover. So
the cover has a dude with a half mask and kind of cloudish hair with the wolf behind him. It looks like.
Okay,
yeah, we could totally relate to the half mask. I get it.
Yeah. So
and yours
it starts
is
off
longer than both of ours. Mine was about 30 pages. Josh's was 20 something, and this one is 55.
Yeah, but this one does a lot more like scenic and more of like dynamic.
Yeah, there's one
kind
bubble
of panels.
on the first fucking page.
And yeah, literally he says, "Come on, Shadow," and it's this kid who's running with this giant shadowy figure who's naked, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we get to see any dongers in this?
No. It looks like it's got a Ken doll thing.
Okay.
Who can relate?
But yeah, it's drawn pretty well, and so far it's just a kid, and he's talking to him like it's his friend. And they kind of get to this cliff beach looking part, and they're like, "Look how amazing it is." And he starts talking about, "Do you ever wonder what's out there?" And he's like, "Mom's from the islands out to the west, and she says her home is wherever we are, but I know she misses it." And then he kind of starts talking about like, "I want to see pirates, magic, demons, sea creatures, all that stuff." And he keeps talking to the shadow, and so he's like, "Shadow, do you remember where your home is?" And then it kind of cuts to the shadow, and then it cuts to kind of like, what would I call it? You know, like Sasuke's curse seal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's over someone else's face, and it just says home, and then you hear the name Merum, I think. Miriam? Is that how you say it? I don't know how to spell it.
Did you just say it and say, "I don't think so"?
I said, "I don't know."
Okay.
But Miriam, and then he says, "Korra." And then he's like, "Oh, I guess they caught up to us. I guess it's time for you to go, buddy." And the shadow disappears. Like, kind of just vanishes while his little sister Cora is the one who's looking for him. She's like, "Don't worry, Dad's kind of mad. You know, he's gonna say something."
Dad looks
But
like a fucking mean dick.
the dad, who's wearing
Yeah.
kind of like a mage's cap and everything, is just like, "You're not supposed to explore the forest by yourself." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, blah blah blah." He's like, "You should be like your sister. She stays by my side, always does good, blah blah blah." So you can tell the main character's got
Classic.
a little bit of a daddy issues kind of thing. Like they don't see eye to eye, and he's telling him not to roam the forest by himself.
Who can
Um,
relate?
and then his little sister just immediately goes like, "You know how he gets. It's you know." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." So they make it back home to their mom, and he's super happy. And then it cuts to later that night, and he's just kind of laughing in his room by himself, right? And so his mom's like, "Who are you talking to, Miriam?" And you see the little shadowy kind of thing disappear as soon as she opens the
Ah,
door. So he's like, "No, nothing." And the mom starts having a little moment with him. He's like, "Oh, you know, your your dad's giving you a hard time, but it's because your dad never really had a relationship with his dad." He's like, "So he doesn't know how to like act towards you in a loving way." And then he says something under his breath, talking towards the shadow. And then the mom's like, "What? What did you say?" And then he tickles him to try and get it out, or just to clear the moment. Which then goes like, "Oh, it's your sister's birthday tomorrow. You should pick up some blueberries in the forest. Like, you know, do your thing, kid." And then as soon as she closes the door, the shadow's just leaning up against the wall, you know, all badass like, you know, arms
okay.
crossed and
Hmm.
everything. And then the next panel is
Ooh.
the mom leaning against the door with the shadow leaning on the opposite end of her.
This is a
I
porno in the
think that's
making.
her on the other side of the wall, Jose. Like they're
Well,
leaning against each other on the wall, and then
yeah,
she's
yeah,
like,
that's what I meant.
"Oh no, that is
Yeah.
weird, actually."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah. So it goes to the next morning to where she's like, "Hey, like remember to take your bow and all this stuff and take care of yourself. There's like wild animals that could get you." And so he's like, "Okay, I love you, mom. Bye." And then as soon as he like takes off, she starts coughing, coughs up blood, and she starts to cry.
God,
And I'm like, "Damn, the Rona.
God damn it.
it has infected our manga. It has gone too far.
It's gone too
Oh
damn
Lord.
far now." So main character runs into the forest, and then you see the shadow come back to him. And he's like, "Hey." He's like, "Come on." He's like, "We got to get stuff for my sister's
Okay, so
birthday."
he's summoning the shadow at this point.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
like it's like anytime he's alone, the shadow comes out.
So it's kind of like Paranormal Activity, where like the little girl thinks she has a ghost friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then in black text or a black bubble box, it says, "I should have treasured those days." It's like when things were perfect, when everything was
Oh,
simple.
this is
So
future him.
so he's reminiscing, and he's
Uh
like
huh.
seeing him in the shadow having fun, feeding birds, just chilling, uh, taking dips in the like a lake. It looks like it looks something cool. And then he goes into the, "I wonder now and then if I go back and do it all over again." He's like, "Would I change anything?" And then it just continues to him having fun with the shadow and doing their own thing. And he gets to this tree where there's a marking. And uh, I forgot to mention it that the mom was saying that the blueberries grow near where the dad's study is, so that's where he should go.
Okay.
hmm So he gets to it and he goes, "The ego, the folly, the danger of man, thinking, praying," as he's going into the study.
Okay.
And then he says, "We can alter destiny." And he picks up this talisman, I want to say, and puts it into this
Oh,
little
it's
like
like Jackie Chan Adventure.
this little this little crevice that creates ruins, I want to say, like ruins that surround the kid.
It's
Runes.
runes.
And then it's and
You're
then
trying.
it lights up and it swirls around him, and then it goes up his right arm, and you just see this giant demon face behind him. Like if you've seen Brotherhood, it reminds me of when Greed is behind Lead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So it does that, and then he's just like kind of like freaking out because he's like, "What the hell's happening?" And then Shadow has the same thing happen to his left arm, and then he's chained up and he's screaming Miriam. So he's just chained up and he screams Shadow. Then this bright light happens and he's just knocked out on the floor. And he's just like looking for Shadow. He doesn't know where he's at, and he just decides to leave. So he finally gets home. He's able to find them, and his mom's like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll have dinner later." And Miriam just kind of goes up in his room, and he's just chilling, kind of grabbing his arm. He's like, "Was this all a dream?" Then it cuts to later that night. They're celebrating his sister's birthday, and he's like, "Well, where's Dad?" His mom's like, "Oh, he's outside. Would you mind getting him?" And his dad sits him down, and he's like, "Oh, I heard your mom let you go to the forest." And I'm like, "Oh, he's about to get it. He's about to get yelled at."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "No, don't be." He's like, "To be honest." And then they have this cool little talk about the stars.
Okay.
And he's like, "No one knows what they really are." He's like, "Some people believe it's the heavens, some people think it's gods, other people think it's a dragon roaming the skies, all this extra stuff." For some reason, a dragon really stuck to him, and he's like, "Huh, interesting." But then his dad's like, "Yeah, truthfully," he's like, "they're just really a light to guide your way back home." And he proceeds to drink. He then tells Miriam, he's like, "To be honest, your mom was in labor for 2 days. We didn't think you were gonna make it." He's like, "And then when she finally gave birth to you, you cried for the first time, and and I went to grab you." And he's like, "And you reached out, touched my hand, and it's like as if to say that I'm here. It's all right."
Oh my God, is he gonna die? Is that what this is setting up for? This is too nice. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Who knew the world would have changed? The stars were so bright that night. It was amazing." He then proceeds to talk about how much he's grown, and he hopes that he has a beautiful future, and like, being a dad kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You could do anything you set your mind to, even reach the stars, even kind of stuff." Then he drops the bottle, it breaks, and he's like, "Lol, LOL." He's like, "I'll clean this up. Don't worry about it. Just go inside." And so he gets up to go inside, and he sees a shooting star. But when he looks at it closely, it's like dragon.
Ooh.
It reminds me of the dragon from Spirited Away.
Okay.
Yeah. But then it goes back. The dad tries to reach for the bottle and cuts his finger, and he's like, "Huh." Just kind of stares at it, puts his hat back on, and then it cuts to a few days later
What a dummy.
where the kid's still looking for Shadow, and he's like, "Fuck, I don't know where he is. I have to find him." And then the motherfucking kid's in the forest, and he gets attacked by a pack of wolves.
His dad told him not to go in the forest by himself.
Exactly, and he didn't take his bow this time, so he's screwed.
Oh my God.
Should have listened to his mom.
Yeah.
He's really boned himself. Boned. Bow. Fuck you both.
All right, carry on, Jose.
Starts screaming, "Mom, Dad, somebody help me!" And he's about to get bit by one of the things, and then it cuts to Shadow like shackled, and then open his eyes, and then Miriam's arm turns into a giant shadow and just bucks up the wolf. And then you hear, "Don't be afraid. You're not alone, little one. I am with you." And it looks like that whole curse mark thing kind of happens again.
Uh-huh.
And so he keeps being attacked by the wolves, and he's trying to fight off the wolves, and he sees just one white wolf that kind of catches his eye. Clearly lost way too much blood, and he sees one wolf get cut in half by a figure. Like you just see the silhouette and just blood splatter. And then the next panel shows it's the guy wearing the half mask,
Oh, cover guy, cover guy.
cover guy, with two blades. It looks like.
Ooh.
So he's like, "Who are you?" And then immediately does the anime thing, closes his eyes, and passes out.
Ah, yeah, classic. Is it a girl?
But it doesn't cut away, and it's not a girl this time.
Oh.
It's our cover guy, but the cover guy turns around and the white wolf disappears. So he picks up the kid, takes him to his house, and he's like, "Hey, you gotta let me in. Your son's extremely hurt." Tells the mom that he was attacked by a pack of wolves. And he says, I think it's Aizen.
Sure. Without
he's
the
like,
A,
"Where-"
everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't a Bleach crossover.
Nope. He's like, "Where is he?" And then the mom asks, "Why?" And then it cuts to him walking in the door, and then they're both like intensely looking at each other, which I think it looks cool. That art on that style looks really nice. Cuts back to the both of them walking away. He's like, "Thank you for saving my son." Uh, Cover guy says, "Don't mention it." He's like, "So the demon has transferred to him, I presume." That's what he says. So I'm assuming the shadow's a demon.
Okay.
Then the father starts asking him, why have you come? He's like, "Oh, you were ordered to kill that demon years ago." He's like, "And yet you failed." He's like, "I let you escape with your oaths when you fell in love with that woman, Aizen, but this is different. We have to put a seal on that boy. It will suppress the demon's power so that it only emerges to save his life." So it's very reminiscent of Naruto there in a way.
Oh, yeah. Except it was more of the opposite.
Yeah.
They,
Definitely.
They put the
needed to keep
demon
it
in
inside.
Naruto's body to save everybody else.
Yeah. Then they just kind of have a talk about the demon and the seal. And then he ends up talking about how he's gonna take the boy, and he's like, "No, the boy should stay here with me and his family." And then he's like, "Can you kill your own son, though?"
Like,
It's-
why? If he gets
Because
possessed?
the demon will eventually possess the kid's body, and
Gotcha.
you're not sure what kind of demon it is, like, at this point.
It's a demon.
So he
Can't be good.
it's just a demon, and he's like, "Can you
Different
kill
than
your
a
own son?"
devil.
Very much different. So main cover guy ends up reaching down towards the dad because he's begging and pleading that
Like
that
he's
he
gonna
doesn't take the
blast
son.
him.
No. He just kind of like puts his hand down, and then he turns over to like his left, and he sees the white wolf again. He makes eye contact with the wolf, immediately says, kind of just looks away, and then walks away. And Aizen goes, "What is it?" And he's like, "This is curious." Picks up grass, it looks like, and he's like, "I'll let you keep the boy for now." He's like, "I want to be wrong, Aizen, for your sake and mine. But the next time I enter these woods, rest assured, I'll kill you first." Puts the mask on,
Ooh.
and he's like, "And finish the job you started." So, and then it says, "So mote it be."
I don't know what that means.
Me either. And it ends with the other guy going, "So mote it be."
So it's like their slogan or something, their gang slogan. I don't.
It's probably this is the way.
That's interesting.
That
So
is pretty
basically, you find out the dad was some sort of a badass, which is a trope all the time. And he was supposed to kill a
Mhm.
demon, couldn't do it. Instead, he sealed it inside of his son. But the demon was only supposed to come out to save him. But then the son was summoning the demon whenever he wanted.
No, I think the demon was attached to the sun,
Yeah.
and he was
And
supposed to kill it.
And so whatever he activated in the study, when he used the talisman looking thing,
That was like a plan.
yeah, it was like some kind of a plan, and it triggered everything almost.
So the talisman was set there by the dad to lock
Well-
the demon onto him. Like,
Yeah, I
to
think
protect
that's
him.
what it is.
I'm
But
confused.
at this point, we don't know. All he says at one point is, he's like, "This is a rather tricky demon. He's an unpredictable demon. I wouldn't put much faith in a counter curse or something like that," because they're asking about how they're going to keep him locked up in him.
So I feel like from seeing, like, obviously looking through it as we're going, I got that is like he was sent out to seal a demon. He couldn't do it. So then he sealed it into his son. Kind of like, reverse Naruto style.
Yeah, I wonder if the demon was in his mom, kind of thing, and then
Because
passed
he
on
says
to
he
him.
says the demon transferred to him, right?
yeah, and then he's like, "I let you escape
that might
when
be
you
right,
fell in love
Jose.
with the woman."
The demon might have been the mom, and then it transferred to the son.
and that's
Yeah.
why she's bleeding, and that's
Yes,
why
this is all
shot.
coming together.
and they
Yep.
did the half shot on the wall.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So why, like, when the son went down there though, and he just found a random like thing and put it into the, I don't know, the rune summoning thing.
Yeah.
Like what? Like
Let me see.
Basically, I think that merged the two of them.
Yeah, it like basically made them one because he wasn't able to summon it anymore. And anytime he uses it, the rune shows up on his hand.
so was he not sealed before? Like when we saw him kicking it with Shadow and having a good time, was
I think the
Shadow
demon-
not sealed until that point?
I guess so.
I guess not. I think it was around him, but then what happened was it completely sealed the shadow in
Because
him.
it kind of looks like that the demon and Shadow might be two different things, no? Because it's like you see, like you were saying, the mouth, like the Full Metal Alchemist greed mouth,
Mhm.
but you also see Shadow at the same time. So those are like two
Yeah.
different things, right?
Oh, maybe, yeah, huh?
So Shadow's
Maybe his partner or something and sealed it in him, but the demon's still out there.
like,
I don't know. I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know.
Because at the beginning, they were talking about, like, oh, mom came from another. Oh, mom came from another fucking place.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, home is where we are. And Shadow points at his heart and says, oh, that's where my home's at. Oh, Yeah, mom was a fucking bitch. The dad fell in love with the demon, and
Yup.
instead of killing it, he
Made
banged
love
it,
to it.
and then the demon got transferred to the sun.
Wow, that was good too. I thought that one was really
Pretty
good.
good.
The art
I think
style's
we had
really
to-
good.
Yeah, it is. I think we had to come up with something though.
But it was there. We got it.
Yeah.
But it's just
Yeah. It just, I mean,
that
But it
makes
is
sense.
the first chapter.
yeah,
too.
it didn't make sense at first. Yeah.
But it's like this is one of the ones where it's like you get the full thing, and it was the same way with Armageddon too. I think Armageddon did a good job. You get basically the whole setup to the story here. It's like this is very much like Jose's one that he read, Starlight Lost, is very much like almost the first episode of an anime. Like you get the setup, you get the like what's happening, a little bit of a tease, like what just happened when you got sealed down there. Is it 2 demons? What happened? I don't fucking know. And then the cool badass guy shows up, and he was gonna kill his dad. Is how I'm taking that. Right then and there, he was gonna kill his dad until he saw the white wolf, and then he was like, "Nah, I'll let you have some time." So I think that was fantastic.
pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
So I like this one a lot, and then I like Josh's a lot, and I'm leaning more towards Josh's.
So
in
we
my
have one
opinion.
more. We have one more. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
I
not
forgot one
cast
more.
our votes yet. We have Mother. All right.
Mother
This is
knows best.
a very short one. Very interesting art style.
Ooh.
I don't know how to explain it. It's a little bit closer to your the one where the little girl had to kill the fox. It's a little
Yeah.
closer to that. So basically it starts off with a young girl. She's wandering through a forest and she's looking for her mother. She's lost her mother and she's saying, "Mummy, where are you, Mummy?" And so she's going around trying to find her and she's like, "Hey, Mom." And then she steps on a fucking dead bird. Okay. She steps on a dead bird. She takes
What the
her
fuck
foot.
is what's going on today? We're like very brutal and gruesome.
So
shit.
she takes her foot off the bird and she's like, shocked that she stepped on a dead bird, as anyone would be. And you see maggots start to crawl out of the bird's eyes. And so she starts freaking out and she's like, and so she starts looking around and the trees start like transforming into like blood trees.
Oh, what
And
the
like they start dripping blood and she starts thinking, "Mama, help me." And she starts rightfully freaking out as blood starts getting dripped on her. And she starts screaming. And then her mom shows up. And she's like, "Oh, why are you crying, Pumpkin?" And it's her mom. And she looks so sweet and nice. And then she's like, "Oh, didn't you not forget? I said I was going to be close." And then so the little girl's like, "Oh, what was going on with the bird?" It's like, "Oh, he's fine. He's just ascended to heaven." And then the little girl's like, "Well, he's just dead then." And so the mom's like, And then the last page is them holding hands, like going to go walk away. And then in the back, you see the dead bird right in the foreground of the shot, just with maggots crawling all out of it. And that's Mother. There you go.
We got a winner, boys. What the fuck?
I like to think that usually the fourth one we do is kind of like a honorable
yeah,
mention.
yep.
Yeah. I agree.
It breaks the normal. It's not really a really full one, but it's interesting, and the art style is very interesting. I don't know what you would do with this story. Someone steps on a dead bird and freaks out.
I don't know if we touched upon it. I feel like we've talked about it before, but I feel like a lot of these are being submitted just to say, "Hey, I can make like good art, or I can do a good story, or something like that." And it's not necessarily. It's like the runner-up for American Idol.
Which it would be interesting if you took this contest. If you were like, let's say you were someone who is really good at art or something. Let's say like you're fantastic, like the artist for Mother. All right, was like, "Hey, I can do really fantastic art. I'm going to go find someone who maybe doesn't have art for their entry, or the art is not that good, and be like, hey, let's team up."
Yeah.
It's like, you write, I'll draw.
Yeah, and I think it's that, and then it's like you could even take it as the judges, they see an art style that they like, and maybe they had an idea in their head, or they know of someone with a similar, like they had a storyline and they wanted that new art style they saw, like this is something they would attach with that story, or they want to try it with that story to see if it tells it better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that'd be cool. I don't see this being like an ongoing thing, but it is definitely cool. I like reading these when it has that different art style. I like the one where it had the tiger bunny bear thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Mother. I mean, once again, it's more of like an honorable mention, as in it's cool. It's really short. It's probably not going to be the one that we pick for the winner, but it is worth looking at, you know? So let's go and discuss the ones that we've already read, and we'll kind of narrow it down and try to pick a winner. So we read The Lone Hunter by Kyoto Kuranami, and then we read Armageddon by The One and Ellen, then Starlight Lost by Studio Q, and then we finish it with Mother by Maxima. So those were the 4.
Have we read something from Maxima before? It feels like it.
I think they could submit as much as they want, right?
Oh, okay.
Are they the one that did mine?
They're the one that did yours, Josh. The same
That's
person.
so cool.
So when I said the mother or the artist or the art of it is a lot like yours, there you go. It's
yeah.
Same person.
Cool.
So that makes a lot of sense. Both short, sweet. I would say I would like Vindictive more than Mother, which is the one that you did.
Yeah.
I would say that one's a little better. So
I feel like it had a story, whereas this one is just like it could go anywhere.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going
So
on.
let's set Mother aside. I don't think any of us are going to pick that one right. Then we're left with The Lone Hunter, Armageddon, and Starlight Lost. As the person who read The Lone Hunter, it was not my favorite. It really, I would be okay with setting that one aside straight out of the gates.
And you know what's sad is in another week, it probably would have done just fine. But I think, especially compared to mine and Jose's, like I didn't know Jose's came from a studio.
Yeah, I think Armageddon and Starlight Lost are just so much better than The Lone Hunter that I don't think it's still good. I just think it's not these two.
Yeah, it's not in the same category. These two literally feel like if I had read it on my own, like I could have read these online already. Like it shouldn't. Maybe they can, but like it literally doesn't need to be in this contest because it's already really good. But it'll get notoriety if anything.
So a couple of thoughts that I have. Starlight Lost feels, as I mentioned when we finished reading it, very much like a first episode of an anime. It really does have that whole setup. Whereas the Armageddon, it's almost like a teaser where it's like, yeah, look at this cool setup. We've got cool art. Look at the cool fucking characters we've got. Here's where we're going to kick off from, you know?
Yeah.
Which is cool in its own right. So they're both different. Armageddon, I would say I like the art style a bit better in Starlight Lost, but I like the premise behind Armageddon a lot. It's
I completely agree with that.
It's got cool characters, but then it's like I also like the storyline of Starlight Lost a lot, where it's like even in the first chapter we were putting together like, oh, the mom must be the demon, and
there was a lot of
demon, and
there's
like
prep work that they did.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, they must have done this and that, so that's just as good as well.
Yeah,
so,
I see it.
So I don't know. I like both of these a lot. Do you guys have one that you like more than the other?
Kind of leaning a little bit towards Armageddon, just because the whole style and stuff is something I haven't really seen before.
So you're thinking Armageddon purely based off of uniqueness.
Yeah, I love the uniqueness of it, and like the whole angels and devils and stuff. I've always thought that was kind of interesting and super cool. Yeah. So it's kind of nice to see it in this kind of way.
It's worth noting that Armageddon is only 20 pages.
Yeah, so, it's super short.
Whereas
and
Starlight
really
Lost is 54 or something like that, over double. So Josh,
I did really like.
I think I would stick with Armageddon because I want to see where it goes. Like, because I think we all kind of know the source material. I agree with Jose. The whole angel and demon thing is super cool. And I personally haven't seen much of that in anime. You guys might be able to correct me on that. But
the only other ones right now with something like that would be what? Seven Deadly and...
Yeah, I can't really think of any that are specifically like heaven and hell related.
Yeah.
You know, like I think there's some that kind of touch on that, like Noragami, but that's a bit more like Japanese themed. It's not like your classic
the
like
devil's a part-timer.
Like Christianity, you know, heaven, hell, archangels are in this one. I think that is really unique. I don't know about any of those. There might be people in the comments who can point some of that out, but I think that's really unique.
And I also feel like it's gonna be we kind of drew lines to it, like with sorry, one sec. We drew lines to it with like Death Note, and it feels like it could get to that point where it's not just about like action scenes, which I feel like it could totally pull off really cool action scenes in it. It seems like it might be more of like a Death Note, like mental thriller where it's all psychological fighting, where it's like the good guy isn't necessarily, he's just dogma good guy, whereas the bad guy actually has thought about what he's doing, and it's like cool. Whereas I think with Starlight Lost, it's like, you're right. We were like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. And that gets more people excited about something, to have like theory crafting and like, oh, I'm assuming, like, how many times have we read something and people have been like, oh, I called this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's kind of cool.
Me
I
and
don't
Sam were just doing that like last week.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm torn on this one. I agree. I feel like I would rather, I'm probably gonna say Armageddon, but it's not because Starlight Lost was bad.
Not yeah, it's just it's a little bit more of a unique point of view, whereas like I feel like Starlight.
I want to continue reading both.
So
Yeah,
and it's I feel like, once again, it's kind of a little different from what I was saying before, but Starlight Lost is very stereotypically anime. It feels like like that feels like
I agree.
I can see where that is going. A little bit kind of Blue Exorcist-y, if anybody has seen it out there. Like, I can kind of see it going that route, which is cool. That's really cool. I feel like Armageddon is just very unique. And I don't know if you guys have anything else to say, but do we want to vote on who we would pick out of the two? So it's down to Armageddon and Starlight Lost. I do want to put an asterisk on this. A little bit behind the scenes stuff. When we're picking these mangas, we just pick it almost at random. Like, we have a group chat and we just go, hey, we're going to record this day. Send me whatever one you guys are going to pick, so we're not picking the same ones. And just pick whatever looks cool. So it's like, we each have different ways of picking, but it's like, it's basically just whatever sticks out. So had this Starlight Lost and Armageddon not been in the same video, they probably would have both respectively won.
I fully agree.
Their own videos.
I think so.
But because they're in the same video, sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes the competition just shows up.
Yeah. So on 3, we'll just go ahead and say who we're gonna vote for. So 1, 2, 3,
Armageddon.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to go with Armageddon.
On that.
Yeah. It's just it's the more unique one. I like refreshing, unique stuff. So I just think let's freshen it up and throw that in there. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so Armageddon by the one and Ellen. That's what I'm gonna put her name as. I don't know what it actually is, but congratulations, you're the winner. We choose you. We'll be back. So next week we will be taking a break from the Jump Tezuka Contest entries to be doing our regular Mangalku, where we pick an actual published manga. We read the first 3 volumes. We come back. We give a spoiler-free review in the beginning, and then we go full into detail into a spoiler-ridden review after that. So stay tuned and watch that next week. A lot of you guys have been loving these videos. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us, and we will be back. If you don't want to watch the regular Mangaku, we'll be back the week after with more Jump Tezuka stuff.
How dare you?
What are we reading for the next week?
Yeah, so next week we're doing Soul Liquid Chambers, volumes 1 through 3. That's what's going to be regular Mangaku. So that'll be then. Once again, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one, and we'll see you guys in the next video.